Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys? I am so excited to be here today. You guys, I have so much good stuff going on, and I'm telling y'all, this has been one of those weeks where I really feel like I have made progress. Do you know what I mean? Like I have done it. How have y'all done it this week? Let me know who's in the video with us right now in the live. And be sure if you're watching this on replay, always drop that you're from the replay. Let me see if I can speak. If you're watching this on the replay, make sure that you drop a comment and let me know that you're in the replay crew so that I will know that you've been here. Hey, Rhonda, super glad to see you. I think I sent you a message yesterday. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but yeah, let's chit chat. I would love to try to connect at some point if you're going to be in Tennessee. And absolutely, if you guys are my people, once I know that you're like a real person, I would love to do get-togethers and stuff like that. So make sure that you let me know if you're coming to Tennessee for any reason. I'm willing to go a little out of my way if I need to, just so that we can have coffee and catch up. By the way, hey, Angie, super glad that you made it. I am so excited. So I'm in a new space. Y'all know that I get a little bit crazy sometimes. And this week, my husband is out of town for work, and I was supposed to be doing a lot of filming, a lot of editing, and really getting ahead on getting things ready for you guys on YouTube. But of course, when when the cat's away, the mice will play, right? So I just had a wild, inspiration. The office that was his office, you guys probably saw it. If you watched last week's video, let me know in the comments if you watched last week's video, because I showed you a clip of how we are real live people and everybody's got that room that you just kind of close the door, or that closet you close the door because you don't want anybody to see how truly nasty things can pile up and get and stuff. So I opened my husband's office door and showed you guys you could not even see the floor. Okay. So literally last night I talked to him and I was like, babe, you don't use that office ever. You don't like being confined to a small space. He likes to walk and talk. And I would love it if I could have my office downstairs so it's more convenient for like doing the laundry and doing things. Plus, the bonus is that there's 2 doors between me and everybody else in the house, my bedroom door and then this door. So it kind of isolates all the extra noises and things. And he was like, yeah, sure. So at 7:30 last night, I started pulling things out, and I got everything out of this room and deep cleaned it and put my stuff in here and decorated stuff. Cause I mean, the cabinets, the shelves, everything was just piled up. What do you think? Terri for the win, right? It's so good. Now, it's still not perfect. I've got to paint or wallpaper or do something because these walls are like disgustingly scratched up and filthy and dirty and nasty. And I think wallpaper would be good. You guys know I like my peel and stick because it's easy up and easy moving. And then I've got to get the lighting just right because I do have a big window right here. So I'm trying to balance things out. But let me know what you think, and let me know if you can hear me well in here, because I may have to change the audio settings because it is small but high. I don't know. But that's what I did all night last night. I got in bed pretty late, like about 1 or 2. My bedroom, however, is now a hot mess. You know how you start a project and it creates other projects? Well, that is what we're going to talk about today. We're talking about decluttering. We are going to talk about cleaning. We are going to talk about all the things to get us motivated. So let's see who's in the house. So I said, Rhonda's in the house. Angie's in the house. Amber, yes, you are live and in color. I love it. Sandy, how are you from Virginia? Amber, West Virginia. Yay, yay, yay. I'm so excited. Are you guys enjoying the weekly live streams as much as I am? Because this was one of those things I really wanted to do, but it was just not convenient. It was hard to kind of find a time and dedicate to it. And I'm telling you, for whatever reason, Thursday at 2 has just really been working well. I know we're only on what our second or third one of the year so far, but it feels right. It just feels good. Yeah, Judy, hello from Iowa. Barbara, I'm so glad that you were able to make it. Oh, so, so good. So, yes, this is the space. These are just books and things we already had in here that were basically stuffed in. Y'all just don't even want to know. Look at that video if you haven't watched it, because it was awful. It was truly awful. So getting rid of all of his boxes and all of his things, and that was something that was really amazing. We have a lot of like prepper kind of books and things. So I've got all my prepper stuff and canning stuff. I've got, all of our books about faith and religion and Bibles and, several versions of Bibles we've gone through. But then I'm able to bring in like my Fly Lady books, my Clean Mama books, all of the books that I was reading and using all the time. And I still have so much space in here. And this desk is so big and so deep, so that I'm very excited. Y'all know I can't bottle it up. I can't hide it. So anyways, we have finished, what is this? The end of week 2? And end of the full 2 weeks, into the third week of January. We're halfway through the month. Are you decluttering? Are you on a health journey? Let me know what your resolutions were, because I'm doing something a little differently this year. I am not focusing on the end goal. I am focusing on the habits and the systems that are going to actually get me where I want to go. So I'm kind of reverse engineering the whole thing this year. But one of the things that I did want to do really consistently for the entire year is decluttering, because you guys know it's like this room. I stayed up late, made a huge mess. My bedroom now has like piles of this needs to go in the garage, and this needs to go here, and this needs to go there. And it just reminded me, this is not the right way to do it. Now, I had to do it this way because my husband's literally going to get home, and I had to get everything kind of put where it needed to go before he got home, because when he gets home, he needs to have access to his things, and I was moving his things. But, oh, thank you, Lori, for telling me the shelves and the sound are both good. I appreciate that. So I don't recommend like this massive like overhaul all at one time, because I'll be honest, and the reason why I don't recommend it is I'm exhausted. My back is broken. I'm tired. But I think I'm going to have enough energy to try to get some wallpaper up tonight. That's going to be my big project. And then once I do that, then I can really put things on the walls. I just hung something up there, but I'm tired. And I definitely, once I get done with this, I'm probably not going to get a lot more done this week, which is bad because I had a long list of things I wanted to do. So even after all these years, I still fall into the pit of trying to do it all at once. And it doesn't work that way. And I'm going to tell you right now, I regret that decision, especially since it was like a last minute, spur of the moment kind of decision that took priority. And y'all remember, what was it, a year ago, 2 years ago, that I did the same exact thing with my office upstairs. I just found some wallpaper for super cheap and came home, and all of a sudden overnight transformed the entire thing. Now it's beautiful, which is why with ADHD, I love the end result, but the process is stressful. It's physically and mentally challenging for sure. And it creates chaos. And I don't want to continue to create chaos for myself. What am I doing? I'm self-sabotaging. So with decluttering, we really have to remember that throughout all of this, it's not a one and done. We are not going to drain the ocean with a bucket. We've got to just continue to hit at it. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be the end of it. And I think that we really want to believe that we're going to get to a place one day and it's never going to need it again. And that is not true. And we really need to just take a breath and just realize that part of living, part of breathing, part of having pets and kids and husbands and all of the things, it means that there are outside forces that are always bringing things in, messing up your pretty places. But also physically, we get tired, we get sick, we get down in the dumps, whatever the case may be, and we let things slide. And so we've got to have some self regulating habits and routines that keep it from going off the deep end again, because you and we're showing up. That means we already are trying to get on top of things. So it's not like we're just ignoring it, but it's the life that keeps on lifing. It trips us up. So what I wanted to do this year is to really focus on those systems. And I created the decluttering planner. I'm using my full version right now and trying to tweak it to see if it's actually working, what's not working, change things and stuff. And of course, I've told you in a couple of videos now, I put out the January and the all the bones of the whole thing is there. I just didn't have February through December finished when I put it out there. But I want you guys to know that I don't care if you use it or don't use it. I don't. But I like it because every day inside of the planner, there's like a one little thing to remind me to check on and declutter. And so I did it for every single day in January. And then I think for the rest of the year, I'm just going to put a focus, like either a monthly focus or a weekly focus, so that when you have the time, it's a reminder, hey, go check your junk drawer. This is a good week to like make sure your junk drawer is okay, or go check the batteries in your smoke detectors, whatever it is. I have not finished all of it, but this is a project probably more for next year, but it was just time and I'm in the mood for it. So I really, really love that. As you guys know, I think that there's no one on earth that speaks to my brain better about decluttering than Dana K. White. I've tried all of the other decluttering systems over the years. You know, I've done the Marie Kondo, I've done the Swedish death cleaning, I've done all of them. And they all have one reason why they fail so badly, I think, in my opinion, and that is this all or nothing mentality that we have to jump in, pull it all out, make this huge, disastrous mess that forces us to deal with it. The problem is that you cannot possibly undo 50 years worth of clutter in one day or one weekend. And that's why it doesn't work, because we don't have the time to go through and do this. I don't know about you, but I mean, as soon as I get off of here, I got to go to the grocery store. You know, like we've got lives that we've got to live, and you can't do that. And if I pay someone, it's their job. And of course, they can come and show up and do it. But we just have to remember that you can't undo a whole lifetime of bad habits in one day. So small, steady system steps, habits, whatever you want to call it, really is the best way to it. And with Dana K. White, she's got some really great concepts that if we just add them into our mentality, just accept them, hold on to them, and then make them work for us, you really will see year after year, the clutter is getting less and less and less and less. And I'm getting happier and happier and happier because I don't feel bogged down by it all. I think I opened up to you guys in a couple of videos, but the majority of my family were actual legitimate hoarders, not stacked to the ceiling so much. But I do have a couple of family members that are, I mean, full on hoarder adjacent. Like there's not a closet that's not stuffed to the gills. They have brand new television sets still in the box, never been turned on, that are 3 or 4 years old because they're going to sell them. They don't want to donate them. They don't want to use them. They got a good deal and they're holding on to it. And because of my family history of collecting things and holding on to things and putting value on things, you know, I'm kind of pushing away from all of it. And I'm going the other direction. And I'm trying to live today, to love and be the best that I can today. And I cannot, after all these years, I finally realized I cannot hold on to every, you know, piece of construction paper that the kids ever cut. I've got to let some of that go. So now I'm at a stage where I keep the things that really, truly are special and important, and not everything your child does is that. We can't live that way. Just like not everything I do is spectacular and wonderful. It's just not logical. It's not practical. So I'm going through, I don't think you should ever start with sentimental things. I think that should be the absolute very last thing you ever touch when it comes to decluttering. Start with something easy. Coffee cups, the sock drawer, things that you don't have any kind of emotional attachment to, that you're okay with letting go of. And then the other thing is, when I was going through Dana K. White, but also when I was doing, I did the Clean Mama's Homekeeping Society, it was really interesting because they were talking about the average home. We have so much more inventory than we could possibly do anything with. And you can see this with our box stores. When you go to the store, you don't get enough toilet paper for 2 or 3 weeks. We're now coming home with enough for a month or 6 months, and we've got a back stock, and well, our homes, especially the older homes, were never intended to be storehouses. You were supposed to get what you needed for a week or 2 weeks, and then you go again. And we've now shifted it to like a hoarding mindset where we just need to get all of this stuff so that we don't have to go for a while. But that's not true. We're still going. We're just getting more stuff and more stuff. And the fact that we've got so much is just a sign of the times, that we have been raised up with bigger is better and more is better. And we've got to slow it down. I love a backstock. I love to be prepped. I like to save money, but I cannot buy more than my home can hold. And that is where Dana K. White's container concept really, when I finally understood that concept, that was a light bulb for me. Like, I don't know how many, let me know in the comment, how many of you guys know what I'm even talking about when I talk about her Dana K. White's container concept. I've got 2 of her books here, but she's got a video that is 100,000% better than any book or anything that I've ever seen about explaining it. So let me see if I can find it. Okay, I'm going to show this to you guys. I'm going to play it, and I want you to, let me see if I can start it without. Let me share it with you guys so that y'all can see it. But I'm telling you, it's just so good. It's just so good. So I am going to try to, let's see, share my screen. Okay, y'all should be ready to hear it and see it. All right, ready? All right, this is
White of A Slob Comes Clean. I need to keep my pens. And then I would think about my friend's house and how she loves pens too, and how in her house they look amazing, and in my house it's just this big mass of stuff and it's constantly out of control. And I would think, well, but she has a cute little glass jar to put her pens in. And I would think, that's it. That's the difference between her and me, is she has a glass jar and I don't have a glass jar. So I would get a glass jar.
How many of us do that? We go and we see, well, they have all the clear plastic containers in their pantry. I need to get those. That's going to solve my problem. And so we go and we buy all the Home Edit little glass jars or plastic containers from Walmart, and we pour all of our stuff in there, and it doesn't work because I have more than what fits in that jar, or I have more than what fits in that container. I've got more than fits in that pantry. And I've fallen for it over and over and over again, which is why when I've came across Laura from Get Organized HQ, she was kind of sharing, she finally found containers that fit her pantry because she had deep pantries like mine. And she was like, I keep getting these cute, containers like the Home Edit, except I have to like put 2 or 3 of them deep because, they aren't big enough to fill in the whole space, and I'm wasting all of this space and I can't see what I've got because things are tucked behind it, right? So she found that Tupperware has the containers that measure deeper. And so they're skinnier and deeper, and you turn them on the side and you can fill it up, and it takes up the full amount of space as the depth of your cabinet. And you can stack other things on top of them and put things beside of them, but nothing's going behind it. So you can actually look and see if flour is getting low. You can actually, with a glance, tell if you have brown sugar. This last holiday, I thought I had brown sugar, and I go digging, and there's an empty or almost empty brown sugar container behind my regular sugar, which is frustrating because I buy all this extra stuff so I don't have to be in that position. And yet I didn't know that it had gotten there, because when you have older kids, husbands, other people who work in the kitchen and cook and eat, you sometimes don't know that things run out, right? So just wanted to say that was like a light bulb moment for me when she said this. Was like, I do that because I want my house to look like her house, right?
And I would come home and I would start putting my pens, maybe a little neater than this, but into the glass jar. And I would be like, oh, this is great. Finally, my house is going to look as good as her house looks, because I've got a glass jar now. So, woo, everything's changing because of this glass jar. So I put my pens in and I'd be like, wow, this is okay. Seriously. And I would keep sticking the pins into the jar. And I would be like, okay, this looks nothing like her glass jar with pins in it. I mean, like, what is the difference? Why does this not work for me the way it works for her? I got the glass jar. Hello. Anyway, as I was working in my house one day, I was talking to myself, because that's what I do. And
how many of us do this too, right? This is why I connect with her, because I have the same mind. I completely have the same mind. Oh my goodness. So yeah, we buy the things and then it doesn't fit. And instead of being mad at the box or the jar, we get mad at ourselves because it doesn't work for me. There's something defective about me. That's what my mind jumps to, because everybody else has it figured out, right? Everybody else can live that life. Why can't I live like that? And that's a myth. It's not true. It is not us. It's a broken system that is teaching us that we're all exactly the same, and that we all live in the same kind of houses, and the same solutions should work for everyone. And I've told you in the past, we're puzzle pieces. We are not supposed to be copycats of each other. We fit together for a reason, and different relationships fit differently. And I'm a circle trying to fit. I'm a square peg fitting in a circle or something. I don't remember how I said it in that video, but it was really, really true that, like, we need to embrace who we are naturally and just try to be the best version that we can, and find a solution and a system that's actually working for you. And if it doesn't work perfectly, then tweak it.
I said, contain. The root word of container is contain. What does contain mean? Well, it means to set a limit. And it helped me suddenly realize that I had been using containers incorrectly. I thought containers were for putting things in. So I thought she put her pens in a cute glass jar. So if I get a cute glass jar and I put my pens in it, then we're going to be the same. But what I didn't realize is she was using the glass jar as a container. She was using it as a limit. So this is how I think of it. When you hear that there is a fire and firemen are fighting the fire, you hear that they are working to contain the fire. They are working to create a boundary. And their goal is to keep the fire within that boundary, to contain the fire. If the fire goes outside of those boundaries, bad things happen. They can't keep it under control if it goes outside of those boundaries. And when I realized that a container is meant to contain, it's meant to serve as a limit, as a boundary, everything changed about how I was decluttering. Okay. And I realized I wasn't actually using containers correctly. I was just sticking stuff in them. And then this is how it would go. I would go, this isn't fair. It doesn't work the same way for me that it does for her. This always happens. My container is full. So obviously I need another container.
All right. So it's really crazy how that is the video, I think, or one of them that completely changed the way I viewed things. And she goes on, I'm not going to play the whole video, but she goes on to say that containers, there are many different sizes of containers. And I'm not talking about boxes and bins, but your home is a container for your things and your family. Your room is a container for, like, your bedroom is a container for all of your personal things, your clothing, your bed, all of those things. That's a container. But we can take it down another layer. Your dresser is a container. We can go down even another layer deep. Your drawer is a container. I have an underwear drawer. I have a sock drawer. That means that I can't have more underwear or socks that don't fit inside that drawer. But here's the thing. If you are shoving and pushing stuff into that drawer and then trying to shut it, it's kind of like her little glass jar of pens. You can't find the one that you need, or maybe you've got some that are holy, or maybe you've got some, she had pens that didn't write, or she didn't like them as much. And instead of getting rid of things, we just think that we need a bigger house. And it was such a mind altering experience when it really connected with me that the house is not the problem. I would love a different house, but the size of my house is perfectly adequate if I live that kind of a life. And if I want to have 500 pairs of socks, then I'm going to need a massive drawer. I'm going to need a massive dresser. I'm going to need a massive bedroom to hold all this stuff in. And I don't need 1,000 socks. I only probably need, to be honest, I need a week's worth of socks. But, to have variety and stuff, let's say 2 to 3 weeks worth of stuff. That's more than enough. If it's cold and I need warm socks every single day and I don't do laundry one week, I would still have more than enough to last for 2 more weeks. So I think that the reason why things get out of control, number one, is that we have not learned this container concept that, this office the office supplies that I have and all of the gear and stuff cannot exceed this amount of space, because when it exceeds this amount of space, then I struggle. I'm not productive, because then I've got to go and I've got to get lights and I've got to get my sound. And that's why the office upstairs was not working for me, because it wasn't just an office. It was a bedroom that I shoved a desk in. And when you're doing YouTube and you're doing live streams, like right now, I've got 2 lights on, I've got a microphone, I've got my big screen. Like, there's a lot of gear that happens so that I can be lit up and you can hear me. And this is a very small setup. I could get a lot more, but when I was upstairs, every time I got done, I had to take all of it down, put it all in a closet, because it was still functioning as a bedroom and as a pass through. It was like a Jack and Jill type of thing to another closet. So people were in and out all the time. And I had to constantly move things around in order to do the project. Well, if you're a crafter, you're going to remember this, because if you have to put your craft supplies away, it's so much harder to jump back in and get back in the mood to finish a project, because once it's put away, you lose the love of it. It's not that you've forgotten it, but you get busy and it's not a priority. And so every time I would take things out and I would put it away, then the next week it was like, oh, I've got to pull all the stuff out again, And so by just simply relocating the office into a space that has enough room for the things that I have, a little bit more room for anything that I need, And I'm still not overrun. I could buy 50,000 lights, but this will work. And so instead of going out and finding new lights and a new thing because they're the newest, latest, and greatest, I now have, okay, this is my container. And inside of this container, this is how much space I have. And when I get to the point where I'm struggling, then I need to let go of some things, pick the things I like the best, and let go of all the rest, right? And that was just a really big moment for me. I don't know if you guys have seen it. By the way, if you are enjoying this at all, please make sure that you hit like, because that's the only way that YouTube shares it out to people and lets them know that we're on here, right? So let me look through the comments and let's just see what all you guys have been saying. Amber, yes. Put things where they should go as you declutter. That was another one of the big things. Instead of pulling it all out and putting it on my bed, I have to like take it right now and go put it away. And I've got, I'm doing another video today and tomorrow. And it's just, if it takes less than 2 minutes, you need to make a rule. If it takes less than 2 minutes to complete the task, then you don't have permission to stop and lay it down. 2 minutes. You can find 2 minutes. You could be watching TV and get up and do it and come back and still not miss the show because you do it on commercials, right? We really kind of make things bigger than they are. Making my bed, I used to think would take 15 minutes and I wouldn't do it because I don't have time. The reality is I've now timed myself, and even with all the pillows and all the little extras that I like to do, it only takes about 3.5 minutes. And that's if I'm not even rushing. So I can make my bed in 2 minutes if I'm needing to get done in 2 minutes. So I think that this really, really, really helped me, because if it only takes a second to do it, do it. Don't handle it twice. Take care of it. Be done with it. Move on. If you're shoving things in and trying to force too many things into too small a container, is it the container that's the problem, or is it that you're just trying to do too many things? I think the majority of our problem when it comes to a lot of things is that we don't want to do laundry all the time. So we buy more stuff because we're always out, or we can't find, or we don't feel like we have the good stuff. So you buy new stuff, and then you can't, it may be a month or two before you get all your laundry done again. If you're not doing laundry regularly, I remember back in the day thinking, I don't have enough work shirts. But then when I started doing laundry every single day and I was keeping up with it, I realized I had like 30 work shirts. There's only 31 days in a month, and I don't work every single day. I had way more than I actually needed. But because I was only doing laundry once every 2 to 3 weeks, I was running out of clean clothes. Now I'm on a system that it's just a minute, and then, I don't have to worry about it. So I don't need as many clothes as I used to, which means that my drawers are more organized, which means that I don't waste time looking for clothes. If I want this shirt, there's 2 places it's going to be: hung up or in the dirty clothes. And that means I wore it like a day or 2 ago. It's real simple now. And now that it's simple, I'm not as stressed. The house is not as chaotic because I'm not stressed. I'm not putting off negative vibes over having to deal with laundry or deal with people who are constantly putting things in the laundry that they didn't actually wear. I know if they're doing that instantly, because if I've done their laundry, say my daughter, if I did her laundry on Monday and then the next Monday, there's more than just 7 outfits, then I know that she's changing clothes multiple times. Now, when they're in sports and they're outside working and stuff, it's a whole different ballgame. But you know what I mean? Teenage girls can try on 5 outfits before they pick one. And back in the day when she was smaller and I was doing her laundry, you have to kind of go, look, just because you touched it doesn't make it dirty. You put it, hang it back up. I will hang things up if I put it on for 2 seconds. I'm not going to lie. I will do that. So let's see. So Rhonda has said, yes, 15 minutes of commercial on a 1-hour TV show. So think about all those little chunks of time that you can get things done without missing a single thing. One of the best things that my mother taught me, my mother wasn't a major homemaker, but she did teach me some really great things. And that was, every time you leave a room, you take something with you. So if we're watching TV and we eat in the living room a lot, it's not a great habit, but it's just me and my husband a lot, so we do. If we eat in there, the next commercial, I get up, take our dishes, rinse them, and put them in the dishwasher. And then I come back, refill my water. You know, I've always got my water. So refill my water, come back. I haven't missed a single thing. And the dishes are already loaded. And the, you know, napkin isn't laying on the side table. You know, the salt and pepper shaker's not sitting there. Like every time I get up, I just take stuff. I also, every time I get up, if I'm going to refill my water, I ask, would you like something? You need anything from the kitchen? It's just a common courtesy, but I'm going there anyways. So every time you walk up the stairs, something needs to be in your hands. I mean, I do. I think about it. I have one designated place where I'll set something, and the next time that I walk that way, I have to take that basket of whatever's in there and go put it away. It's so, so simple. If you just make it a priority to just take care of business, you know. So we've talked about our container concept, the no mess decluttering, which means you only pull something out and then go take it and put it away immediately. There's a couple of other really great rules that she has. Of course, if it's not a yes, then it's a no. But not even going down the path of, do I want to keep it? That shouldn't be your first thought. The first thought should be, let's see. By the way, I'll talk to you about this in a minute because I love this stuff. But if I pick this up and I go, if I were looking for this lip oil, where would I look for it first? If I was trying to find it, where would I look first? Well, okay, it should be in my bathroom vanity. Walk in there, go to put it down. If I go to put it down and it doesn't fit because it's already so full of everything else, then I need to look at it and go, okay, do I like this one better than some of the other ones that are in here? And if there's something that I don't like better than this one, then this one gets to go in and that one has to go out. That's what happens when you're already full, when you're already stuffed. If you go to put something in, something has to come out. And it's a matter of, this one's new and I really like this color and I really like the texture of it. And that one I've had for 4 or 5 years and I've still not even used half of it because I don't like it. And I don't care how much it cost. Ooh, I need to say this to some of my family members. I don't care how much you paid for that foundation or that eyeshadow palette. Don't care. If you've had it for 5 years and you're still not done using it and you don't like it, you choose not to use it, you're using something else instead, then that's a good sign that maybe it needs to go. Even though there's still some left, even though it was expensive, you know, you might need to make that decision because we need to fill our house and our space with the things that we actually love and enjoy. And if I love this more than I like that other color because that other color doesn't match my hair, which is a very big problem when you're a redhead with freckles, is that a lot of pinks and reds don't look good, then I need to just be honest and go, look, I tried it, it didn't work out. And you know, if my daughter wants it, she can have it. Otherwise, if it's a lipstick, you got to throw it away. Don't hold on to it just because you paid $20 or $30 for it. They don't get to live here for free. If they're not serving me, they got to get out, right? By the way, so I've got this for stocking stuffer for all of the girls in our family, and I have fallen in love with it. So it is Elf, so super cheap. They have it at Walmart, and it's a lip oil, tinted lip oil. So it's like a lip gloss, but better. So it's just got a little bit, it looks dark. It looks really, really dark. It's not, it's like sheer, but it's just got a tint to it. But because it's an oil, it's better than chapstick. It's better than Kiss. It's better than the, what is it, Ecos or whatever balls. Loving this right now. So I will put a link later, but I have no affiliate to it. Just wanted to tell you, I've got it right here because I like it so much. All right. So Amber, I'm feeling you. She says she has trouble finishing the process, taking the trash out, putting the stuff in the correct spot. That's something that we're all struggling with. And it's just a matter of consistently trying to like look for it. And I said, I don't know if it was in the last video or the one that's coming out next, but I said, We can be like mess blind. Have you heard of nose blind, where you don't smell scents because you live in them? You don't smell them anymore. I think you get desensitized to your cleaning situation. So if you are struggling to finish things, or if you're one of those people like my kids that can walk in a room and I go, "Is your room clean?" And their answer is, "Yeah." And then I walk in and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's terrible." It's not necessarily, with teenagers, you never know, but it's not necessarily that they're lying. I mean, they just may not be noticing all the things you notice. I have learned over the last couple of years that I have a very keen eye when things are out of place or if they're a little bit dirty. Dusty, yes, a little, but it's really like dirt and grime and out of place. So I scan things every time I'm walking through a room. I'm looking to see, is there anything out of place, anything I need to tidy up? And it's learned, because let me tell you, I was never like that as a teen, 20s, 30s. I think I was 35 ish when I started to find fly lady. And at that point, I wasn't that aware of it. I just knew that I needed to find new systems. But now when I walk in, like, I try not to judge. I shouldn't, I don't judge, because I go into a lot of people's houses and I don't judge. But if I'm going in to help out, I can look really quickly. One of my pet peeves that no one seems to notice is on the white doors. You got to clean those because they get really grimy, and that, the whiteness isn't white anymore, especially where you touch it. It gets really dirty. Lots of people don't see that, but now, because I'm constantly scanning, I'm constantly looking. When I used to work, if you see a piece of paper on the floor, I was the one that, as I'm walking past or down the hall, I pick it up. I can't walk past it anymore. And that's a really good thing. If you see something that's out of place, I mean, just, fold it up and put it the way it needs to be. If towels got to get messed up in the cabinets when I go to open it, I mean, it happens to me all the time. But if I go to pull one out and I notice they're kind of messy, I'll just kind of throw it over my shoulder and just tidy it super quickly so that it looks nice the next time I open the cabinet. It's not perfect, but there's an awareness. And as you learn to be aware and to scan and to do the one in, one out rule, and to pick up and take things when you get up, and get up frequently. Don't sit and scroll on your phone during commercials. I mean, that's just a bad habit, because those are the little tidbits that you could actually get things done. You could visit with your family. You could mark things off of your list. You can go through your mail. Like, I'm almost always trying to multitask. I have to physically remind myself to shut down, turn my computer off, and like lay there next to my husband when we're watching a movie, because otherwise my brain is like, I need to look at my email. I need to do this. I need to do that. Da, 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 da. And sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's very bad. So we really do have to set these reminders and habits. And it's always, this year is my year to step in my authority. So this year I am purposefully trying to stop apologizing for mistakes and things that aren't actual mistakes. But I'm really quick to say, if someone gives me a compliment, my friend Robin today was saying, I can tell you way to go because you went walking today and you got 10,000 steps. My first response would be, yeah, I did pretty good today, but I'm not like you because you go all the time. So even though I'm accepting the compliment, I'm cutting myself down, because I'm saying it was still not good enough. I did it today, but I won't tomorrow. And so this year, my goal, instead of saying I'm going to lose 20 pounds, my goal is, I need to do the habits. I'm going to daily walk, daily stretch, daily do these things to get there. But it's not about the end goal. It's about the consistency. And I'm trying to build that up. And one of them is, I'm trying to not say I'm just a wife. I'm trying not to say I just stay home, or I just do YouTube, or I just. No, there's no just anymore. I am a stay-at-home mom. I do make YouTube videos. I am a biker because I get out and I ride my bike sometimes. I would have never said that before. And so it's a mindset thing. And when you start doing it, the more consistent you are, the more naturally it becomes, and you don't have to think about it anymore. And so you have to be intentional in the beginning, but it gets easier. As with anything, when you go to the gym, the first time you go is just so hard, but it gets easier. And then you start liking it, and then you enjoy the way you look, and it's all kinds of positive things after that. But we got to get through the messy middle to get to the really good stuff. So, Rhonda, thank you so much. I really appreciate that you're sharing the video, because I really, YouTube is fickle sometimes, and you don't know who's going to get the notifications and stuff like that. And I know that they do a really great job of matching people up, but it does help me quite a bit when you do that. So I appreciate y'all. Alta, don't worry. Better late than never. I can't even talk today. You didn't miss anything. I'm very happy you made it. I'm very happy. Going forward, Thursdays at 2 Central is going to be my goal, is to keep consistency. Even if I'm not highly prepared and we're just having an open chat, it still keeps me consistent, because it makes me show up. It makes me like slow down and enjoy a conversation. Sometimes I get in my mind, I've got earbuds in and I'm just doing things and I'm not talking and listening. So it's just a good little break. I always fill up my water before we get started. By the time we get to the end, I'm like needing to run to the bathroom. Like, it's so funny. But yes, I'm very happy that you're here. Let's see. Michelle O says she is in Ohio. Rule for paperwork: only handle it once. And that is my rule for as much as possible. It's so much easier to just deal with it. I was trying to teach my daughter about this rule, and 17, 18-year-old kids, they don't like to listen, and they definitely think they know more than we do. So I just tried to approach it in a different way. I was like, look, cleaning is like a popsicle. And she just gives me this weird little look. I was like, look, if you lay a popsicle down on a counter and you go outside and you do other things because you're going to take care of it in a minute, and you don't spend the 2 seconds to like put it back in the freezer, when you come back, it's not a popsicle anymore. It's a mess. And the longer you ignore the mess, the harder the mess is to clean. I don't know if y'all have ever tried to clean a popsicle that's stuck to the countertop. Like, you have to get your fingernail under there because that glue sets up. Like, sugar turns into like super glue. And it's nearly impossible to get it to come up and get going. So instead of it being a paper towel and a wipe and you're done, or even more, just put it in the freezer and you're done. Now you're spending 15 minutes at least trying to scrape it off with a lot of energy and a lot of fortitude. And that's the way cleaning is. That's the way decluttering is. Instead of waiting for it to pile up and be a big mess, and then you've got all the dust on top of it, and you've got, ladybugs. I got dead ladybugs all over in this room yesterday when I was cleaning it. Instead of having to do all of those things and really having to deep clean, I just, every single time I walk in there, tidy it up and do a few minutes. And I'm talking, if you don't want to do it, set a timer for 2 minutes. Just see how much you could get done in 2 minutes. Do it when you're watching TV, right? The commercial timer works for me. It keeps time all day long for me. Angie says decluttering is so freeing. You're exactly right. My mental well-being is so much more improved when I get in and I can see space. One of my pet peeves for my grandmother's home was the fact that you could not see underneath any furniture. They had those little dust ruffles underneath everything. If there was space in between 2 tables, she would put a potted plant, or so you couldn't see the walls, you couldn't see the floor. Like, it was just, the room felt small and cluttered because she just felt like everything needed to be filled. And it just, when you declutter and you have empty space, like my cabinets back here, being able to look back there and see that it is not stuffed full of things gives me so much peace and joy and relaxation, because I can breathe. My things can breathe and I can breathe. Plus, it makes it look clean. Even if I don't clean it for a week, it still looks cleaner than it did because there's not as much stuff. And so it's easier to clean. It feels cleaner for longer. And it just mentally, it's like losing weight without having to go on a diet. I mean, it's just so good. Yes. Let's see. We are CEO. That's right. I actually had done a whole series. I think maybe it was on my old blog, but it was about Homemaking is like running a business. And there's so many really good takeaways from that. Number one, you're the manager. You are not the owner. You are not the laborer. You are the manager, which means it is your job and responsibility to, number one, how do I want to say it? To assign the tasks to all the employees. And the employees are everyone that lives in the house. So your husband, your kids. Now, he has authority too. So he's not like one of your laborers. He's like, if you're the manager, he's the CEO, operating officer, maybe, or something like that. But it's your job to work together as a team to keep the house running and organized and stuff like that. And when you start to see that, you can't have a successful business if no one pays the bills. So you've got to have a billing department, somebody that's in charge of the bill, somebody that's watching the budget, someone's got their eye on the growth plan. We need to have all of those to have a successful house and a successful family. You've got to have someone who's in charge of planning activities, someone that's in charge of, prepping the lunches, so a lot of that will fall on my shoulders for sure, but I'm not a solo company. There's more than one person that's living in this house, which means that I should be able to assign a few things to everybody to lighten the load and keep us all on the same page, going in the same direction with the same end goal. If everybody in the company is trying to do their own thing and no one wants to talk to each other and no one's working to one common goal, the company will fail. And that is something that I think very passionately is the same with the family. If your kids and your husband are not on the same page with the things that you want for your future, then everybody's going to be frustrated all the time. But when you can get everybody on the same page, we are going to care for the house together. We are going to save money by cutting out some pizza nights or whatever so that we can go to Disney this summer. And every single time we get together, we're doing stuff. We're like, well, we're not going to go, spend 50, 60 bucks to go to the, movies. We are going to rent a movie and stay home, and we'll do popcorn at home. But that money that we don't spend is going to the fun money for whatever you're doing. They start to not ask as much about, hey, can I have, can you give? They start to go, oh yeah, I can do this, or we can do that. And it gets to be a lot easier, and we are on a common mission, and it works so good. So anyways, kind of crazy the way that works, but I really love that concept, Rhonda. It's so good. And yes, ladybugs, my dust buster, she says that she does ladybugs every day. We've always had a ladybug issue in Middle Tennessee in certain times of the year, and evidently it's the winter time, right when it starts to get cold. So for years, it's been my daughter's bedroom. They just collect because that's the sunny side of the house, and they have swarmed her room. Well, I guess she's got heavy enough drapes now. They're not really doing that so much, and they have moved into my bathroom, which is also on the sunny side of the house. So every single day, I go with the dust buster, and I suck up every ladybug that I can find. I go to every window. I look at the light switches. I look everywhere. That is the first thing I do once I get dressed every single day, because I can smell them. They drive me crazy. It's just one of those things. Nobody else sees the ladybugs as much as I do. But when you're getting 20 a day out of your bedroom and your bathroom, you start to really be annoyed. So yes. So Clean Mama had some really good tips about the deeper tasks. And we talked about the 2-minute rule already, and that was on her list as well. Freshen up the air. Basically, she's saying the same thing, like dust has a smell, and so the more that we are regularly cleaning, the house smells better, which you will perceive health and cleanliness, all of those things. They're all sensory issues. And so when you don't see the mess, sensory issues are not as bad. When you smell clean, it feels not as bad. So, those are some simple things that you can do, is to just declutter and then to just regularly clean. And then I have, I don't know if you guys do oil diffusers, and especially in the winter, I'll put a little wintergreen in there or some lemongrass or something like that. And it really goes a long way to making the house feel and smell clean and healthy. And it's just as simple, 5 drops and some water and turn it on. And I love it. And sometimes it's not the big things that you've got to focus on. It's a lot of little things, right? But those little things add up. And so if you aren't seeing a mess all over the place, you are keeping things picked up fairly well, and it smells clean, then your impression is going to be the whole house is clean, even if you haven't deep cleaned at all. So talking about deep cleaning, having some kind of a rotation that you use regularly, and I have to stress that marathon cleaning, if you're in a situation where you work all week long and you only have the weekends, I understand that that's the only time you can clean maybe. But when I stopped trying to do my marathon cleans on the weekend and I started doing a little bit every day, and when I say a little bit, I break it into morning, evening, morning, afternoon, evening, like basics, and then maybe 30 minutes after work or an hour after work. I would try to do at least that much of deep cleaning. It didn't always work, but when I started to get that as a habit, then my weekends became my weekends. I didn't have to stay locked at home cleaning and doing laundry. So if you can get some kind of a system that works with your current schedule, and everybody's schedule is different, so there's no judgment from anybody in our comments or from me ever if you only have time to do stuff on the weekends. I lived that life for entirely too long when I was commuting an hour and a half each way to the hospital that I worked at before I decided to quit 100% after 2021. 2020 was a year that haunts my nightmares. It was so bad, and I have so much PTSD. But if you're in that situation where you're working 12 hours and then you have a 3-hour commute, you just are not going to get a lot done when you get home. You're exhausted, especially an hour and a half of a ride just rocked me to sleep. Basically came home, ate, and went to bed. It was a really bad start to our marriage when we got married right before it hit. And then for a year and a half, it was that way. Oh my goodness. So I'm never going to judge if you only clean a little bit, through the week and you do a massive clean on the weekends. I'm just saying that if you can change it up, then you get your weekends back, because I think everybody needs a day off. I do. I think that a lot of people do Sunday house resets. Sunday is my day off. I take that off. I go to church. We have fun with family, or we just like take a nap. It's, go outside and enjoy being outside. That is a priority for me in my life. That's what I want to do. So I'm not going to do a Sunday reset. You won't see me resetting my house on Sunday. I'll do that on Monday. But that's the current situation. But for years, that wasn't the case. And I would have to either clean all day Saturday or all day Sunday. And it's hard, but you have to make choices and make it work for you. And just know that in this community, we are here to just be a support, a motivation. We love you no matter what day you clean. I used to clean at midnight sometimes because that's when I would get home and have some energy. When I was working 2 or 3 jobs, I was still awake because I had just gotten off work. So coming home and doing an hour of cleaning and just kind of detoxing and stuff like that worked for me for a season. So anyways. Oh, hello. I'm so glad that you made it. Thursdays at 2 are going to be our standard going forward as much as possible. I'm going to stick to it, y'all. Pinky promise. Here we go. Pinky promise. That is my plan. And I'm really thrilled that we have been able to come together. Once again, I didn't mention my goal for today's video, and I didn't play the disclaimer. What was I doing? I think I was so excited about my new office that I skipped things. So let me just say this. I'm trying to do some things that make this more fun, and I've got so many good ideas. In fact, I've got a whole list of ideas just for our live streams that I want to start doing. And I kind of got off topic a little bit. I didn't get my Dr. Pepper ready. Like, there's so many things I did wrong. But one thing I did want to say is that going forward, I'm going to set a goal of having a certain number of viewers live with us. And if we hit that goal, then I'm going to have some kind of a little video or fun thing for us to watch and comment on, because I've really tried to stop making everything like factual. Like, I just want to see how crazy the social media situations can be and stuff. Hey, Emily, you're coming in too. Yay. I'm so glad that you're here. Watch the replay, drop a comment. You're in the replay crew as well. That helps me. So my goal for today was 25 people at once. We're a small community. That's a huge number for me. I'm thrilled that we hit it. Right now we're at 21. So a few people had to step out, but we hit the goal. So I've got a video that I found on TikTok. It's a love-hate with TikTok. I don't think it's good quality stuff, but every now and then I'll find somebody that just kind of I find funny. I enjoy it. And that's what I'm doing when I'm like sitting waiting for somebody that I had to pick up. Like I had to take my son and he's getting his truck worked on. So I had to wait for him to do the thing and then bring him home. So while I was sitting there, I found this. Hey, Betty Joe, I'm so glad you made it. Yes, I was talking about container concept. But I found this girl. Now she cusses a little bit. So I had to find one that she doesn't cuss on. So it's a few, I think this is one from Halloween, but I found this girl on TikTok that talks about Gen X and the struggles that we had and kind of how funny it is that some of the younger people don't understand what we're talking about. And I found one where this like obvious 20-year-old, college kid was like, I don't understand. Did y'all not have water when you were a kid? You don't have sinks? Like, I don't understand, because she had made a video that Gen X people never knew about water. And the point of what she was saying was we did not buy water. We had that old nasty water fountain at school that no one, half the time wasn't even cold. And we drank out of a water hose if we got thirsty because we were thrown out of the house. Like we had to go outside and play. We weren't allowed to be back in the house, right? You remember this. And so she was just saying, like, kids these days, like they're so privileged, and look at me, I am too, with their like expensive cups, although mine is not Stanley. Mine is much more affordable. But, they're so worked up about all of that stuff and these perfect little cups and all the little accessories and stuff and, having expensive water. And we come from a generation that's just like drink out of the faucet, And this little kid, he's like, I don't understand. What do you mean you didn't have water? So I went back and I found this video to share with you. Amber, thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed day, and we will catch you in 2 weeks, right? So here we are. Her name is Kelly Mano. Stop. There we go. So she is talking about Halloween. So I'm going to share this. This is just for fun. It's her opinions are not my opinions. We're not trying to say anything is facts. This is just for fun. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Y'all, she's hilarious. You ready? Let me turn her up where you can hear it.
Why do they dress like this? Absolutely nobody looked like that in the 80s, especially on Halloween. We looked like this. Every single member of Gen X can smell this photo. It's like a vinyl, like plasticky paint smell. Our parents took about 3 or 4 pictures of us a year, and Halloween was always one of them. You knew before you went out trick-or-treating, you had to line up with your cousins in front of the fireplace in your highly flammable costume with your mom, chain-smoking Virginia Slims, like, say trick-or-treat. The eye holes in those masks never lined up with your actual eyes. We would push our tongue through the slit in the mask. It would cut our tongue, but then we'd keep doing it again because we were like eaten up with like OCD and ADD and nobody cared. The great thing about our garbage bag costumes were that they weren't the actual like costume of the person. They just had a photo of who we were on the front. And these costumes sounded exactly how you think they would sound. You could hear like a herd of us coming up the driveway, just swish, 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 in our garbage bags. We worked so hard for our candy. We walked so far. If your mask was still working, you were sweating under it, like lip beads of sweat, and it's just sliding around everywhere. We could haul our body weight in candy. If you were a house that gave out this orange and black candy, just know everyone hated you. I still hate you. I can hold a grudge. I like, look at these photos. Weird, terrifying. No wonder people tried to poison us. When people
that I just found her so funny because I remember those Halloween costumes and the things that they have now and the way they do it, where they pull up in a parking lot and trunk or treat and stuff. Like, goodness, my cousins and my friends in the neighborhood, we just got let loose. Like, see you, bye. We were given a parameter of this is how far you can go. Go get all the candy you can get. I remember you had to go and do y'all remember they had to like x-ray it to see if anybody put razor blades or something? Oh my gosh, like it's a whole different world these days. Like parents didn't care. You were gone, the street light came on and that remember they had to remind you that you had kids, if it's 10 o'clock, if you do you know where your kids are? Like it's hilarious that this is the generation that I was raised in. And I'm speaking to my daughter, but she's got these littles and they're like so well taken care of. And she's such a little hover mom and things are so perfectly done and worried about cutting a grape into like 4 sections. I mean, they probably just pulled a carrot right out of the garden and handed it to me when I was that age, but whatever. Anyways, I've enjoyed listening to her. Like I said, she does cuss a little bit. So if you're sensitive to those things, I try not to say those words, but there are a few of them I don't like as well. But I do enjoy her sense of humor and matter of factness because I literally think that we live next door. That is my life that she just showed you. Yeah, Betty Jo, she says, yes, absolutely. Remember that. Michelle, disposable plastic styrofoam cups. Yes, everywhere, all the time. In fact, I told you my family, we had hoarding. My grandmother would save those. She would wash them and dry them. Tinfoil, you remember? She had that roll of tinfoil that she would never throw away because that was like gold or something. Every butter dish on earth got washed and reused over and over and over again. It's just crazy how frugal they were. And we didn't worry about what is it, BPA and toxins and stuff like that. That has never is so funny. Always had a little chubby, and the chub got worse in my 20s. Yes. Well, I was not chubby as a kid because I was running around. I was the only girl with all boy cousins. And so literally we were running nonstop, like climbing. Remember, I walked on top of our swing set. Like we would go underneath the house. I don't know how I survived. I should have been bit by snakes, you know, those spiders that'll kill you. Like we literally did all of these things without thought or fear I remember climbing up the antenna. It was one of those poles that had the 3 things, and we climbed up the thing and got on the roof and sat on the roof of our front porch. No one was home. No one cared. They knew that we had done it. They didn't care. Like you're just supposed to survive. It's so funny. Oh, let's see. All the moms have a different whistle to call you home for dinner. No, I actually lived in an apartment complex for a large part of my life. And so they would just start yelling out the door. And you knew that, like, if my best friend's mom yelled for her to go home, that was my time to go home too, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's crazy. Bicycles. I mean, like, there was just a pile of bikes at the end of the driveway where everybody just kind of collected at somebody's house and we just played, with whatever. So, all over the place. Like I remember walking to the store to get, a sucker or a ring pop, and take off across an open field, to go a mile down the road to go to the store to get, a ring pop because I had saved 50 cents or whatever from doing a chore. It's fun to remember that. And I appreciate all the privilege that we have now, but also, everybody's so hypersensitive about everything. And back in the day, like we just worked our stuff out. I mean, we just did. There was no, like, everybody was poor, right? Pretty much. We all just kind of had to do the same things. Our parents just expected us to behave a certain way, and they would find out if you were disrespectful because everybody knew everyone. And, I remember my mom like getting a hold of me and she was like, so and so said that, you were driving too fast. I'm 16 years old and I got in trouble for speeding, and she was at work, never even saw me, but I got in trouble because somebody told her I was going too fast. craziness. Anyways, that was it. I wanted to talk about just motivation, stay motivated, and doing the little simple things that kind of keep us on track as we go into the last part of January. Don't lose your momentum. Don't hold yourself to perfectionist standards. I'm not trying to say that. I most definitely have not even gotten outside to do a good walk yet, but we've had snow and cold. We still have snow out there. It's not as cold, but there's a lot of areas that are still snowed in our area where they were under trees and stuff. And so I've not had the best start to my outdoor activities. No, but that doesn't mean that I haven't been trying to do better on other things. And I just every day I've got my little list. I do the best that I can. I'll let the rest go. And the main thing is I'm working on my mental attitude. I want to be calm and collected as much as possible this year and not spiral when things don't go my way or let one little feather knock me off of everything I ever tried to do, right? So sometimes you get that way. Like if you miss one day, then, oh, I can't. It's too I'm too grown up to act that silly. I'm trying to really step into my authority and be the woman that I'm supposed to be. So, anyways, there's one thing we got to do before we break up. And you guys know, I just want to say a really quick prayer. Thank you for coming. Father God in heaven, I praise your name and I thank you. I thank you for this time, for these people who were able to take just an hour out of their day and have a real chat and enjoy suggestions and thoughts and reflections on what's going good in our lives and how we can make the best out of whatever situation we're in. Father God, I've learned that when I quit trying to hold on so tightly and I just trust in you, you do things so much better than I can. So I'm letting go of it all, Lord. And I just pray that everybody's listening right now, whatever they've been struggling with, that they can give it to you right now. And just know that it's taken care of. You're going to provide for them, maybe not instantly, maybe not in the way that we want, but you're always working for our good. So I thank you that we were able to pay our bills this month. I thank you that we've got food, that we've got heat, we've got a roof over our head, and we've got love and friendships. And I just appreciate that so much. But more than anything and everything, I thank you for my salvation, Lord God. And I just ask that you just continue to bring us together. Let us be a light in a dark world, and let us just continue to live one day at a time and do the best that we can. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, you guys, you've been awesome. Thank you so very much for joining me. The next video should be a regular video Monday or Tuesday next week. And then, of course, we'll be back here live on Thursday at 2. So I hope that I'll see you then. Bye.